In the heart of Russia, where frost met fire, one family ruled as if chosen by God himself. For 3 centuries, their name commanded loyalty, fear, and death. But every empire built on divine right eventually bleeds. And when the blood of the Romanovs touched the snow, an era ended forever. This is not just the story of czars and crowns. It's the story of betrayal, madness, and a dynasty undone by its own illusion of power. This is History Unsealed. Subscribe, like, and turn on notifications. Because the truth of the past is never buried, it's only frozen, waiting to be uncovered. Cold wind moves through the Russian night. Snow falls softly on golden domes. Inside the walls of a palace, a baby cries, the sound that would echo through centuries. In 1613, a boy of 16 named Mikhail Romanov was dragged from hiding and crowned Tsar of Russia. The country had been broken by war, famine, and betrayal. The throne was cursed. Men who sat on it never lived long. But the Romanovs would not only survive. They would build one of the most powerful dynasties in human history. Mikhail ruled with the blessing of the Orthodox Church and with the fear of the people. His rule was simple. Russia belonged to the Tsar because the Tsar was chosen by God. For the next 300 years, that belief became law, and the Romanov bloodline became divine. Generations passed, and each Tsar added to the legend. Peter the Great turned peasants into soldiers, swamps into cities. He built a new capital, St. Petersburg, carved from frozen earth, standing as a monument to his ambition. He opened Russia to the west, but his rule came with iron fists and endless graves. To modernize, he destroyed the old, even his own son. Because in the empire of the Romanovs, mercy was weakness. After Peter came Catherine the Great, a German princess who seized power through blood and brilliance. She expanded the empire, brought enlightenment, and seduced the world with her intelligence. But behind her glory lay poison, revolts, and betrayal. Catherine ruled a kingdom of splendor built on the suffering of millions. While palaces glittered in gold, peasants froze in hunger. The Romanov dream had become an illusion, a dazzling surface hiding endless cracks. By the late 1800s, Russia had changed. Factories rose, cities swelled, and the world began to question kings. But in the Winter Palace, the Romanovs still believed they ruled by divine right. The people prayed for bread, the Tsar prayed for obedience. Then came Nicholas II, the last Tsar of Russia. A quiet man, devoted father, loving husband, but unfit to rule an empire in chaos. He wanted peace in a world demanding revolution. He believed God would guide him, even as his people starved outside his gates. Nicholas's wife, Alexandra, was equally devout and equally blind. Her faith in mystics would seal their fate. When their only son, Alexei, was born with a deadly disease, hemophilia, she turned to a mysterious monk for salvation. His name was Grigory Rasputin. Rasputin, a wandering peasant with eyes like fire and whispers that could bend the royal will. He claimed to heal the boy. And when Alexei's bleeding stopped after Rasputin's prayers, Alexandra became convinced he was sent by God. But to the court and the people, Rasputin was no prophet. He was corruption in human form. Drunken nights, scandals, whispers of manipulation. The empire's soul was being eaten from within. The nobles could no longer bear it. In December 1916, they lured Rasputin to a noble's mansion, poisoned him, shot him, beat him, drowned him. But even as he died, the prophecy was fulfilled. If I die, the Romanovs will fall within 2 years. And he was right. The world turned upside down. War raged across Europe. Russia bled millions of men in World War I. Famine swept the land. The soldiers mutinied. The people marched in the streets shouting one word: freedom. Nicholas refused to believe the world had changed. He prayed as the empire burned. But faith could not stop fire. In March 1917, the unthinkable happened. Nicholas abdicated the throne. 300 years of Romanov rule ended with the stroke of a pen. The royal family was placed under house arrest, first in their palaces, then in distant Siberia. Their crowns were gone, but they still hoped to be spared. They wrote letters, they prayed, they waited. But mercy does not exist in revolutions. In the early hours of July 17, 1918, soldiers woke them from sleep. Nicholas, Alexandra, their 5 children, Olga, Tatiana, Maria, Anastasia, and Alexei, were told they were being moved for their safety. They were led into a small basement room. Nicholas asked for chairs for his daughters. The commander read a short statement. Then gunfire. The echoes lasted less than a minute. The Romanov dynasty ended in blood and smoke. When the shooting stopped, the soldiers realized the bullets hadn't killed them all. The girls wore dresses lined with diamonds. The gems acted like armor, deflecting shots. So they used bayonets. The royal blood soaked the floor of a nameless house in Yekaterinburg. And just like that, the empire of the divine Tsars was no more. But the ghosts of the Romanovs never left Russia. Their palaces still stand, silent, frozen, shimmering in memory. Their portraits hang in museums, staring back with haunting eyes. Their story remains one of beauty and horror, the ultimate warning of power, faith, and blindness. Because the Romanovs believed they ruled by heaven's will. But it was their humanity, their arrogance, their faith, their love that destroyed them. The empire of ice had melted into blood. And as history would show again and again, no crown, no power, no divine right can stand against the will of the people forever. Empires built on blood, the Romanovs. If you believe history's greatest stories still breathe beneath the dust of time, subscribe and join us at History Unsealed, where the truth of the past lives again.